So you've been learning a language for quite a while, but you're not too happy with the level of fluency. And you've heard people say that you need to stop translating in your head and start thinking directly in your target language. But is this really the issue here? And how can you actually achieve it? In this video, I'm gonna break it down for you, so stay tuned. Adults have a big advantage in learning a language. That is, they already know a language, their mother tongue. If a baby learns a new word, dog for example, they need to see a picture of a dog and hear their parents say dog. But an adult learning Chinese can simply look up the word in a dictionary and they will know immediately that dog is go in Chinese. And if you want to take it one step further and want to say I like dogs in Chinese, you only need to know the 3 words and can put together the sentence. 我喜欢狗. And that's perfectly correct. So translation is actually a natural part of language learning and helps speed things up. In other languages, our particular example might not work so well though. Take Spanish. You might know that I like is me gusta and dogs is perros. So you might end up saying something like me gusta perros. And that's wrong of course because it should be me gustan los perros. And you might know this because you've learned the grammar, but your brain has to go through 3 steps. First you're like, I want to say I like dogs. Then you're like, me gusta perros. But then you're like, oh, there was this rule. I have to change me gusta and also add the article. So it's like, me gustan los perros. This is slow, of course, and far from fluency. So the problem is that you're either talking too slowly or making tons of mistakes. The good news is that people will usually understand you anyway, but of course you want to aim for a higher level of fluency. So does this actually ever go away? The answer is yes, if you put the necessary time and effort. It's only natural to start talking by translating word by word. But once you familiarize yourself with the language's patterns and structures, you start speaking more naturally and translate less in your head. And then eventually you will start to think in your target language, and translating in your head will only be the exception rather than the rule. And even if this process takes time, there are things you can do to speed it up. So here are my top tips. First, use translation wisely. When seeing a sentence in your target language, don't translate it word by word. Try to understand its meaning. Only translate it word by word if you're totally lost. If you're using Anki flashcards with sentences on them, make sure to not memorize the exact translation of a sentence, but only use it to check whether you understood its meaning. And then at one point you should start using a monolingual dictionary. Some words just don't have a perfect translation. And if you use a monolingual dictionary, you'll be able to get an idea of the actual meaning of the words. Second is massive input practice. If you want to develop that feel for a language, what we call Sprachgefühl in German, you need to spend many hours with the language. Listen to podcasts or songs in that language. Watch YouTube videos or Netflix shows and do a lot of reading practice. The more time you spend with the language, the better your brain will get at absorbing its patterns and chunks until the point where you can use them actively. Third, and this may sound a bit counterintuitive, is delaying speaking. It's actually possible to skip a big part of that word-by-word translation phase. Just delay speaking by a few weeks or even months. That way, you'll already have developed a solid base of the language, so you start speaking much more naturally and bad habits won't form. Fourth is collecting language chunks. It makes a lot of sense to learn certain expressions as a whole and not word by word. Things like c'est dommage in French, me da igual in Spanish, or ich habe keine Lust in German. That way you won't have to start from scratch every time when talking. And my last tip is talk to yourself. Seriously, you can practice thinking your target language in a low-pressure environment this way. Just talk about your day and try to use translation as little as possible. Once you're able to do that, you're one big step further towards fluency. So to sum it up, if you want to speed up the process of thinking your target language, you should use translation wisely, do a lot of input practice, maybe delay speaking, learn language chunks, and last but not least, practice by talking to yourself. I hope you found this helpful. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.